Welcome to that Flippin' Sports Podcast, featuring Kevin Flippin' as Flip and my man Paul Gilman as PG-33. And I'm your man, what up though, Kenny Wingle. Let's go racing, boys. What up, dog?
Hey, can I say that the audio was so much better that I actually for the first time heard a woman doing vocals in that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah.
Like my face like literally lit up when she started singing or humming or whatever she was doing. I was like, whoa, what is that? Good job. Good job. Welcome. Welcome.
We're making improvements, boys.
We're getting there. We're getting there. And not only are we making improvements with audio and me trying to figure out how to get my screen set right. And by the way, here we go. Bam. We have a special guest this week who will be on shortly. And both of them are shaking their head because I must have did something that messed up their screen. Did I mess up your screen?
You said bam and nothing changed for us.
No, he went full screen, I think. That's
No,
what
he hold on. We have to talk
banned
about
himself.
Hold on. We have to talk about this. How many episodes have we done, Kevin?
70.
We've done that's probably about right. Today is the first time Kevin realized he could expand his screen from about 1/3 of the full screen to the full screen. We learned that tonight.
I mean, it didn't take long, when I got a teacher like Gilman,
It's all about football back.
Congratulations, Kevin. You learn something new every day.
It's a big night.
Thank you.
It's a big night.
Hey, well, speaking of new, if you look over here to my right, look at this. Not only are we getting better audio, we're getting more visual. And PG55P said he couldn't read it. So I'm going to read it for you. It says that Flippin' Sports Podcast right there. And then our first topic is the NFL. Isn't that cool? You excited yet? The second topic is our special guest this week, Corey Lajoie, who's got a great name, by the way. So it's going to be a joy to have Corey Lajoie on. And then we'll, of course, have the sandwich in a sandwich on the Miracle Flip Stat of the Week. And then we have Mount Rushmore in here, but it might be just a placeholder because there's a little bit of contention around whether we're going to do that or not this week. So if we don't do that, I'm sure we'll have other things that we can fill in. But do you like the board? Does it need to be brighter?
Yeah. Can I tell you what I think I see? NFL, Corey Lajoie, Martin Flip, and then Mr. Reindeer.
Mr. Reindeer. All right.
So
right.
Flip, this is where you could click on the control to make it just you on the camera, and then everybody could see it when you go on that. But dare I ask you to do that right now? But
yeah.
You'd have to hit the escape button, and then you'd have to.
It's a little crazy. That's crazy.
I'm not gonna do that to you.
We all
No, it's fine. I get it. I mean, I understand what you're doing and how you're trying to help me out, and I appreciate that. But
there it is.
Yeah.
Is that better?
It's a lot better.
Okay. Does it still look like Martin flipping?
No, it looks like Miracle Flip
All
Stat
right, cool.
something.
I like that. Where'd you steal that board from?
In my kids' room. In my kids' room. It used to have a big roll of paper up here. It's got a little thing, but when you swing it around, you can do a whiteboard. But I couldn't find the cool markers for that size, so I might have to go check those out at the store.
You don't want to use that side anyways. It's going to reflect just like it did now.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah, and put some pants on while you're at it.
That's a good. It's like I'm with Boogeyman, Jimmy the Boogie Woogie Man Valiant with no pants on. All right, so let me see if I can figure out how to get it back to full screen everybody. Oh, that's me. Good gracious almighty. That's too much. That's too much me. Anyway, all right, so let's get into some football. And by the way, there's a game on right now. I mean, we don't usually do this on Thursday night, but there's a game on tonight that actually I had in my list to pick because the LA Rams, who I don't know if you guys have been watching them, because I don't think anybody has even cared about the Rams this year because they started so badly and Stafford wasn't playing and we didn't have any good running backs. All of a sudden, this team looks dangerous. Now, I don't know how dangerous, but with the Eagles coming back to the pack.
Hey, Corey's here. Corey's here, dude.
That's what I'm talking about.
You want me to bring him in? You got him.
He's in. What's up, Corey?
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
We can't complain.
We're doing great. Hey, Corey, just to introduce, I'm Kevin. You and I have been talking, also known as Flip. The guy in the right top corner, at least he is on my screen, is PG50P, Paul Gilman, and that's K-Dub, Kenny Wingle. We self-gloss on this podcast because I don't know why we do it. It's just maybe we think it's funny.
I like the affinity for minor league hats as well. What's that minor league hat you're wearing?
Richmond Flying Squirrels.
I probably have at least 50 minor league hats.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, probably majority of AAA, and there's and a lot of the alternatives, right? Because like the Hickory Crawdads have a couple cool alternative caps, cannonballers. I have every cannonballer cap there is. I just love the logos for minor league baseball. I don't know where 95% of them are from, but I like wearing the hat.
I always try to grab them when I'm traveling. One of my favorites is the Chattanooga Lookouts.
Yep,
I got one of those. Those sweet.
Yeah, and it also gets you some extra brownie points if you wear a minor league hat like in the markets you're at. So if we go somewhere where I know I got a hat, I'll throw it in the bag and usually get a couple extra brownie points with the fans.
Yeah, there you go.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Absolutely. Well, dude, first of all, Corey, thanks for joining us. This is exciting for us. I know it's exciting for me. I've been a NASCAR fan. I don't watch it. I will admit I don't watch it like I used to, and I wanted to talk to you about that too. Actually, I'm trying to get back into it, get to know more of the drivers now. I met Bill Elliott one time, and I knew we had a mutual friend, so I've kind of liked Chase Elliott just because. But I know what Ryan Blaney won last year.
This year,
you're right. It's not next year yet, so my bad. But we're gonna get into that in a minute. But what I want to know, Corey, is how, and I know it's probably a normal question that you probably get all the time, but I got to ask it because our listeners want to know, how did you get into racing? I think you were a second generation. I'm not sure if you were third. You can tell us, but how did you even get into racing cars?
Yes, my grandfather, Don, he was like a 6-time champion at a track up in Connecticut called Danbury Race Arena, and was like the guy back then, late 60s, early 70s. And my dad got his start up there as well. Then he moved south to pursue NASCAR. NASCAR wasn't even a viable career, until the late 80s at that point in time. So when my grandfather was racing, you can make more money doing it, at your neighborhood track and taking, 0.5% of the gate. If you won the race, you can make pretty good money. So, but by the time Dad decided to move south to pursue NASCAR, it was starting to become some real money. And Dad scrapped and clawed, begged, barred, and stole until the mid 90s. He got a shot in a pretty good Busch Series team and won 2 championships in 96 and 7 when I was 5 or 6, somewhere in that range. And then naturally I got started right around then in a go-kart and just won a couple races and was all timed out right and got lucky and caught some breaks. And now I'm still flying the Lajoie flag, which is pretty cool.
That's very cool. Is that so? It's in your blood, obviously. So, do you feel like, is there ever anything else that was creeping in that you wanted to do, or has it always been, and once the go-karts you want to race? I can imagine you're like, oh, this is cool. Is there anything else that you were thinking, hey, maybe I want to be a fireman? I don't know.
So baseball was another passion of mine, and my high school team was really good. We won states when I was a freshman. But I had a couple good barometers. So when I was a freshman, Kyle Seager, who played third for the Mariners for 15 years, He was the example of what I could never be. And then what I really drove the nail in the coffin. I was a junior when Corey Seager, his little brother, was a freshman, and I realized real quick that if he was a 5-tool guy, I was a half a star. I was a half a tool guy. I didn't like it as much as he did. I didn't have the size that he did. I couldn't hit like he could. I couldn't throw the ball as good as he could. So I had none of the attributes that it took to be at the level that I wanted to go play it at. So I'm glad I had that measuring stick to realize real quickly I'm gonna push all the eggs into my racing basket, because I was just good enough to kid myself to probably make 30 grand for about 9 years chasing it in AAA baseball. So I'm glad I went the other way. Now, that's not to say I haven't made 30 grand a year racing for 9 years, but the passion is there.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Paul, did you have a good one?
Yeah, Corey. So when I was a kid, Kevin was a kid, Dale Earnhardt Sr., Rusty Wallace, Bill Elliott, the Petties, they were doing their things. I was a Rusty Wallace guy only because everybody else was a Dale Earnhardt guy. When you were a kid, say 8, 9, 10, besides your dad or anybody in your family, who was your favorite driver?
So I would say Ricky Rudd. The Rooster was that guy. I love how fiery he was. He was kind of a West Coast guy, a little bit of a disruptor. He had a bunch of natural talent, super fast, would always get in a bit of a scuffle. Didn't seem to take any bullshit. And it's been pretty cool. I actually get the chance to ride mountain bikes with him a couple times a year. He's
nice.
Probably 62, 63, and freaking hammer. So it's cool to end up riding and getting to talk shop with, one of your heroes growing up.
Oh, that's amazing, man. You're really lucky.
For sure. That's cool. Yeah. That's cool. KW, you got something?
Corey, I got one for you. So you talked about your minor league hats. Do you have any of your 50? Are any of them Richmond Flying Squirrels hats? Because you're coming here twice a year.
I don't. Man, I've been I tell you, I get a lot sent to me. Hint, if you happen to wear a 7 3/8 or know anybody that does, they can fire some my way, because that's a sick lid you're wearing. I would say my favorite hat right now, I got to give some love to my Kannapolis Cannonballers. I do my charity kickball event in the Atrium Health Ballpark there. Shameless plug. And those guys take great care of me. They're in my backyard. I grew up right down the street. To be honest, I didn't love the name. I hated to see the Kannapolis Intimidators get rebranded to the Cannonballers, but it's growing on me over time. I do love, I guess I can keep it local with the Hickory Crawdads, or the Las Vegas 51s is another cool one. There's the Route 66ers with another cool one with the guy swinging a big wrench. That's probably one of my favorite ones too. There's just so many cool minor league hats, man.
Corey, we will send you a 7 3/8 Flying Squirrels hat. Would you like one signed by the three of us or not?
Yeah. As much as I want to keep that hat's value intact, I'll ask for the John Hancock to be left off of.
If we sign it though, we'll help you stack a couple more pennies. That's for sure.
Just sign the bottom, so it doesn't look like the face.
There we go.
That's awesome. All right, so I got a question for you. So we just talked about probably some of the greatest drivers the sport's ever seen. And right now, I'm sure you could probably name the top 5 drivers that are going right now, excluding yourself. Give me the guy that's under the radar. Who, when you line up, how many line up every week? Is it 36, 40?
Between 36 and 40. 36
and 40. So of the top 40 drivers every week, who's the sneaky best driver out there that maybe doesn't have the best team or the best, and I don't want to call anybody out, but, that maybe doesn't have the best car every week, but who out there is just the guy that can really drive that no one really knows about?
I think that I'm going to give you a long answer. I think there's a common misconception by the fans, And just like in any sport, and I relate being an NFL quarterback to driving race cars. Now the two job requirements are much different, right? But there's so much outside the quarterback's control, and yet he is one that is probably in the most control, right? So there's many variables outside of his control, and there's still plenty of factors and variables that are outside of his control. Same thing with a race car driver, right? You're very reliant on how good the car is that day, the setup. There's an infinite amount of different combinations of setup we have in these cars now. Obviously, the enemy gets a vote, so somebody else can crash into you or take your air or put you in a bad spot, or pit crew can give you a bad stop and you lose some spots, right? There's so many things that you don't control, but then there's the whole thing. You have to do the little things and stack the pennies right on the weekends. So the common misconception by the fans is like somebody that races in the Cup Series that's getting paid a lot of money and has dedicated their life to the craft is an elite professional at their craft, even if they're 25th to 30th or 30th to 35th, right? Just like Bryce Young quarterbacking the worst team in the NFL, shout out Carolina Panthers. He is without question an elite quarterback, but if you look at his record right now, it's not very good because a lot of variables are outside his control. Now, without being into the trenches and looking at financials and looking at manufacturer affiliations and looking at engineering depth, like there is assumptions you can make about strength of team versus performance against teammates, and this is all in the weeds for you, but it's easier to pinpoint guys that are it's easier to expose guys that are in good cars that aren't performing to the level of their teammates than it is to unfortunately find guys who are overachieving for what they're worth, because if you overachieve, I feel like the last year and a half or so, like the 7 car has overachieved for what we have. We certainly have overachieved for what our expectations are. But then when you continue to overachieve, then that just becomes the standard. And then people get accustomed to it. So, man, it's some days we run 8th, some days we run 32nd. So you race them all. And I guess the long answer short is that there are probably 12 elite guys, maybe less than 10. You can probably count them on 2 hands and have 1 or 2 fingers left over of like elite guys, right? Like bona fide Hall of Famers right now. And we could probably count those out for you right here. You got Chase, Ryan Blaney, Kevin Harvick just retired, so we'll count him in the list too because he's been active. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano. Y'all can probably throw some out too, but I mean, we're already up to 8, and those guys are going to be Hall of Famers, and they're active right now. And when you're competing against those guys with elite engineers and elite crew chiefs and endless budgets, it's pretty hard to win a race. Like it has to go your way, right? And fans think that just because the guys who fight their ass off to run 15th to 20th every week, like I will come to your short track and bust your ass tonight, bro. Like come find me, like, and I've shown it. If I get an opportunity in something else, and if it's a middle tier car, I will take that thing and bust you up. So I think that there's a lot of short track guys that sit around on a couch on a Sunday afternoon being super critical and think they could get in there and do it better. You ain't doing it no better, bro. Just sit tight on the couch and watch me do my thing.
I love it. That's great. I wasn't expecting you to say "bust you up" on this episode, but that's awesome.
I will.
That's a great answer.
Your mouth.
Bust your ass. Corey, is there a difference between like old school like seat, behind the wheel versus the simulator training now? Is there a different generation of drivers, would you say?
Oh, for sure. But I think it's a little bit of an adapt or die situation, right? A lot of guys, even Kevin Harvick, you'd think that old dog ain't learning new tricks, but he saw the value in the time on the simulator. It's easy to get in there and get pissed off that the tire model's not right or the aero map's not correct. But if you utilize it correctly, just like it's a screwdriver. You can use a screwdriver for a lot of right things, or you can use it for a lot of wrong things. But if you go in with some intention with your team and use it to kind of hone in some communication and make things a bit more concise and try to work towards a goal, then it can be good. But you're seeing these kids now, 18 to 20, even younger than that are gamers that legitimately will spend 7-8 hours a day on a simulator, right? And just burn it up. My mental bandwidth can only take about 2 hours at a time before I'm like over it. Like, dude, give me some trees in real life and get me out of the metaverse. But I've had to adapt. I've had to get better and like retrain my brain to get used to the cues that simulator gives you. And it's been a benefit for our team for sure.
Nice. That's awesome. That's cool. Paul, you got something? You look like you're.
I was going to ask you about your podcast, which we can talk about in a second. We talked to a guy who is on the Golf Channel as a reporter, so he's talked to all the PGA and now Live guys, and we asked if the golfers are fun-loving, funny kind of guys. He says none of them are funny except one guy, and he named that one guy. Are NASCAR drivers, are they pretty funny?
No,
in general?
They're not funny. Dorks.
Besides yourself, because you clearly have a sense of humor. Besides yourself, who's the funniest?
Dorks, bro. There are some cool ones, but I say dorks. A lot of them are it's a little bit of a product of the system where you are so dependent on being like squeaky clean for people that you're asking to spend tens of millions of dollars with you to put their name on the car, right? They want somebody that's not going to be on the edge, that's not going to fire off a tweet at midnight about, or repost some tweet about some meme, right? Like they don't want those guys. So you kind of get your edges filed and your corners chipped off because that's just the nature of the beast of what you're expected to be. So it's hard to show personality and to really grow a brand when you are so dependent on, fitting in with a company's brand and for them to feel like you are a safe investment or a safe place to put their marketing dollars. So it's, I hammer those guys being drivers, but you get them out of their element. You get them to where, that's why I love the Kickball Classic, that our charity event so much, is you get them out of their element. They show some personality. The personality they have, they just generally are a bit guarded with their racetrack, whether it's when there's a microphone stuck in their face.
Yeah, it makes sense. I imagine that's true for a lot of pro sports, especially individual sports.
Heck, that's
probably a little bit more so. Just racing is unique, where your competitive performance is so dependent on those external dollars, where Patrick Mahomes' performance ain't worried if they're selling billboards at Arrowhead, right? Like, he can get in the gym, he can do some sprints, he can eat some kale smoothies and probably feel a bit better to like go play on Sunday, right? And his performance would show that. And if he has a great game, balls out, then the statistics can reflect. Where if we don't have sponsors on our car, we're not going to be able to pay people. We're not going to be able to get the cutting edge technology, and our performance is going to falter. It doesn't matter if I'm in the gym, if I'm in the simulator 10 hours a day. Unfortunately, the coal that fuels our sport is those marketing dollars.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hey, Corey, so there's three things that you and I know have in common right off the top. We both drive too fast. Yours is legally and mine's not. We both know Tim Clark. That's a little scary, I think, from both of our ends. And we both do podcasts. So tell us about
I got a fourth.
Tar Heel fan?
No, gray in the beard, bro. Look at I've got 1, gray hair, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
you
bent out of
know
shape
what?
about it.
It's coming. It's
Wear,
coming. But I'm
wear,
probably
wear it with pride. It's all good.
Corey. I've got you about 20 years though, so I think.
Is that because you missed that when you were dyeing it, or that's like legitimately?
No, yeah, my
That's
just
your
for men
first one.
brush must have been a little bit coarse that day.
So yeah, tell us about stacking pennies. How did that come about? You enjoy doing that?
Yeah, so I do, man. It's grown into something, grown some legs that I never anticipated. It also takes up a lot more of my mental energy than I wished or had hoped it would, which I guess is a good and a bad thing. That means that I care about it, and also other people care to listen. But from our mutual connection, Tim Clark, he probably sometimes regretfully gave me the opportunity and the platform to have a podcast that's grown to a bit more than that, just to more or less talk about the sport. I love it. It's what I've grown up doing. I'm a student of it. I love the history. I love the characters. I love the current state of it and the leadership of it. NASCAR acquired another media company called MRN, and I was doing a podcast with a couple of buddies on MRN, and NASCAR Studios was trying to juice up their digital content with some different shows and trying to add a couple. And they looked at the numbers from what that one was called Sunday Money, with a little tip of the cap towards Dale Earnhardt's yacht back in the day. And that one got some pretty good numbers. And we just started kind of hashing out what some ideas would look like. And I drug my buddy, my best bud, Ryan Flores, who was the front changer on Ryan Blaney's car this year. Me and him have known each other for 15 years or so, and kind of speak the same language when it comes to racing. So they gave us a couple microphones and a couple headsets, and we've lined up a lot of great guests. We've had Kevin Harvick and Richard Petty and Mike Helton and SVG the week before he showed up and kicked our ass came on. And we've had, I mean, you name them, they've probably been on the show. So it was pretty cool. And it's continuing to grow, and I love to see the direction it's going. It's allowed me to kind of stay relevant to when the competitive piece hasn't been, and it's not to the point where I want it yet. But a lot of people love the show, man. It makes you feel good when I'm walking through the garage and fans are yelling "stacking pennies." So that's the sort of stuff that keeps me excited to come back.
Yeah, they yell that stuff at me too, but they replaced flipping with another F word. So we respect your time tonight. I'm going to end this with some rapid fire questions. You can give us rapid fire answers if you want, or you can, do whatever you feel is necessary with each question. It won't be that many, but we'll go fire them at you. Is that cool?
Yep.
All right. Life on the road, hotels, or you have an RV?
I'm a mix of both. So I got a bus. We got a bus that started this past year, and it's been a ton of fun. We've had a lot of great time in that as a family. I would prefer staying in the bus, but I'm probably in a hotel. Probably there's 38 weeks. Probably take the bus to half. So about 20 weeks of the year, I'm in a hotel.
All right, cool. Your favorite fan base, and I say fan base, I guess favorite city to go to where the fans are the best.
Talladega is what comes to mind. That place is next freaking level, man. There is NASCAR people watching at its peak.
Most intense track. So where's it the most intense? Which race?
So my answer's always been Bristol, but that Chicago street race was in freaking tense, bro. With the rain and the changing conditions, it was super wet to start. Developed a dry line. You couldn't put a wheel 6 inches off line, or you'd be stuck in the tire barriers or stuffed in the fence. So that one took an unbelievable amount of focus. And it was bumpy and tight and no room for error. So I'd put Chicago Street Course top of the sketchy list.
That's a great segue to the next question. You ever met Michael Jordan?
Yeah, actually, I always just assume every time I see Michael that he's not going to know who I am, just because he probably knows everybody, right? And everybody wants to get a picture of him. Everyone wants to dap him up. I've seen him now probably 7 to 10 times around the racetrack, right? Walking around, and I shit you not, 8 out of the 10 times he's either saw me first and like went out of his way to come dap me up. So I'm gonna say that me and MJ are buds.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You see. Yeah.
You don't know what you've done. You don't know what you've done to Kevin, Corey.
Did you take that? Did he give you that off his back? You guys that tight?
Yeah, I took that off his back. I was 7 years old when I took it. No, actually, me and MJ about the same age. That's awesome though. First car you ever owned?
So it was my mom's 2001 Pontiac Bonneville Supercharged. It was a sick ride, and then it had Mario Kart and a TV about the size of a wallet hanging from the ceiling. And my brother and I used to just like heads up, like top and bottom screen. Our cart was probably the size of your thumbnail in that TV screen, but we used to burn that thing up.
Dude, that's awesome. All right, and we do a segment this is the last question. Segment every week called Mount Rushmore. So I hate to put you on the spot, but give me your Mount Rushmore race car drivers of all time.
All right, I got a better story. Last year I did a helmet, like a July 4th helmet with my great American, my definition of an American Mount Rushmore. I had Abraham Lincoln for the obvious reason, but also he's on the penny for stacking pennies. 2, Dale Earnhardt, naturally. 3, the greatest podcaster of all time, Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And 4, the greatest Christian athlete of all time, and 1 notch below Jesus Christ, is Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow.
So Tim Tebow is almost as famous, especially when he was at Florida.
I'm going to say he was equally as famous as Jesus, especially around Gainesville. So I had always had this thought about wanting to give the helmet to Tim Tebow. Because Tim Tebow, I mean, I've read all the books, done all the things. He was an idol of mine growing up. So I found out when I found out he was speaking at like the Easter service before our race in Bristol this past year. I'm like, I'm gonna figure out, I'm gonna pull some strings and figure out how to meet him and give him a helmet. And sure enough, I called the right people, got the chance to meet Tim and his wife at their little spot after he spoke. Got to meet him with my family too. Got to give him the helmet, sign the visor, the whole thing. And then he fired back a couple of months later a signed 15 jersey. Corey, keep up the good work, yada yada, Tim Tebow. So I've acquired some pretty cool things. I've got a signed Michael Rooker, one of 2 Exxon fire suits from Days of Thunder, the original ones. A Myrtle Beach Mermans Kenny Powers jersey signed by what's his name?
Oh gosh, I can see his mullet now.
Yeah. Shoot, what's?
I'll look him up.
Yeah, we don't fact check on here, Corey.
Who? You know what I'm talking about.
Danny McBride.
Danny McBride.
There he is.
Danny McBride. So I got Danny McBride Mermaid's jersey. Got a couple guys. I don't want to put them on blast or nothing because they're not A-level guys, but still appreciate the autographs and uniforms. But that Tim Tebow jersey and the Michael Rooker Exxon fire suit, those are my shadow box specials for sure.
I love it. I love it. Well, hey man, we thanks for taking as much time as you did and for doing this for us. We really appreciate it. We're gonna be following you this year. Definitely hope for a top 10. Hey, we get a win this year, man. Get a couple.
I get top 10s frequently.
There we go.
We're in dub season now, buddy.
All right. I love it. Well, hey, thanks, Corey. We appreciate it, man. And we'll send you that Flying Squirrels hat for sure.
Come on, send it over my way. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Corey. Take it easy.
Awesome dude right there, man.
There you go, man. How about that?
He's buddies with Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I might have to go down and visit.
Round of applause for you, Flip, for lining that one up.
Thank you, Tim Clark.
Tim Clark comes through.
Yes, he
Shout out to
did.
Corey Lajoie. How cool, man. Like, super nice.
Yeah, he did not
Absolutely.
have to do that. Tim Clark said he's the best guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he
I think
wasn't
you
lying.
proved that.
Yeah.
Hey, real funny, ironic thing about what he said there at the end. I didn't want to bring it up, and he may listen to this, maybe he won't. But one of Tim Clark's least favorite athletes of all time is Tim Tebow.
Really?
Yeah, which is blows your mind. I mean, Tim Tebow is such a good guy and such a nice guy, and maybe that's what it is, right? He's almost too squeaky clean.
No, it's not just squeaky clean. Yeah, he's very faithful. He's a Christian. To say he's nice is like not giving him enough credit. He is very actively good to the universe. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable how good he is to the universe.
Yeah, well, that turns some people off, believe it or not. So,
Well, they're haters, dude. They're just pessimists and
hey, maybe he's coming around. Maybe Corey has helped Tim Clark come around on Tim Tebow.
I'll help Tim figure it out.
That's funny.
Well, when they do that 30 for 30 with that Florida team, and you see how he led them to be as good as they were, and all the stuff that was going on around him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I heard stories that by his junior and senior years, he couldn't walk on campus without police escort. That's how popular he was on that campus.
Yeah. Nuts. Nuts. Absolutely nuts. All right, cool, man. That was very cool. Got a little NASCAR knowledge. Hopefully Corey can go out and win some races for that Flipping Sports podcast. Maybe we get a little logo on the side of his car or something down the road. No? All right, yeah. Yeah.
That costs you more than a hat does, bro.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll get him a hat.
By the way, we're getting him 2 hats, one unsigned, one signed.
Yes. Why not? Why not? He'll get a kick out of that. He does have a good sense of humor. It's funny. You asked him who's funny on the right. He's like, no, they're
all
dorks. Oh man. All right, cool. All right, let's get back to some football. It sounds like poor Corey's a Carolina Panthers fan, so I'm pretty sure he didn't want to talk about football, just like I don't. But hey, I don't know what we were talking about when Corey joined us.
You were talking about the Rams.
The Rams. We can get off the Rams. I mean, the Rams are a fun story. We'll see what happens with them. Maybe we talk about them when the playoffs start down the road a little bit. But
they're winning 17-7 right now.
Yeah, there you go. Let's get into some picks. I mean, we're already getting around the 40-minute mark, and I want to make sure we have some time for these picks. Talk a little fantasy because the playoffs have started. In fact, K-Dub, let's hit the fantasy thing, man. What you got?
All right. That Flipping Podcast. Fantasy update. This week's top scorer was Lenz with a big 145.58. Low scorer, Bennett a bunch this year. RBs with 77 points. Playoff division winners. Lenz pulled it off in the last week. Beat me to win the division, be the 3 seed. He's playing paid Nick Bosa in the first round, who's the number 2 seed. And Riva Dogs, number 1 seed, is playing the wild card. Go Bolts. Those 4 guys, shout out to those guys. PG Fitty P has 2 chances to have the winner out of his division. So good luck, guys.
Well, I really only have one chance because one's going to lose this week, right?
Well, true.
Hey, paid Nick
But
Bosa.
you're guaranteed to be in it.
That's the flip side. That's right.
Ooh,
That's another segment. The flip side. What's up?
On the flip side. On the flip side, hey, by the way, on the flip side, last week, PG 55P, and I'm calling him PG 55P.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Let me finish. Because he drives the speed limit. And we had Corey Lajoie on today, so I figured 55, it's a great thing. It's nothing to do with anything else, Paul. Why are you getting all upset?
You act like there's no speed limit anywhere that is 50 miles an hour.
Hold on. I turned 55 yesterday, so I'm double nickels. And if you'll remember, Kevin, the second P is for plus. I'm not 55 plus. So if you want to go 54 P, that's fine. Because that would be accurate.
Well, you are 55 plus a day.
Also
Thank
true.
you, Kato.
And a
Thank you.
minute and a second and hours.
And let's keep it rolling.
But I'm
All
not
right.
doing 55P. No.
Yeah,
No,
PG 50P until I turn 60.
We could just call you double nickel for the next year.
That's fine too.
We could.
No.
Kiss the Madison Square Garden court. We come back to MJ with the double nickel. All right. Hey, so last week, pretty mediocre. I wouldn't say mediocre, but pretty even week for the three of us. PG had 4-2 week, and Kenny and I both had a 3-3 week. So right now the standings are PG is 3 games over 500 now. He's making a run, 43-40. K-Dub's at 49-34, and K Flips at 52-31. So still got a 3-game lead on Kenny and a 9-game lead on PG. But it is always the tie that could happen. It can happen at any time. It can fall out of the sky, and boom, there's your winner. So I don't know if y'all gonna go down that road this week or not. But I got my games ready to pick. Do you have yours? Is the question.
I mean,
you ask us this all the time, and we don't know until the other people pick. So
right.
Once you pick, then if I pick two
I
games,
I was just asking if you were ready to make picks. That's all I was asking.
Oh, sorry.
I mean,
I jumped the gun. All right,
it's okay. It's the hat. It's a sweet hat, though.
Hey, take me to your short track, and I'll bust your ass.
Bust your ass. Stories from the center of the universe. That was great. He said, "I'd bust your ass."
He was serious.
Oh, I know he was, because he said it again at the end.
No, that's like Kobe or Kevin Durant showing up at Rucker Park, right? Like those guys are ballers at Rucker Park, but Kobe shows up and drops 60 plus on you. Like, I'll bust your ass. That's what it is. That's what he's saying.
There's different levels to this, is basically what he means.
Yeah.
And I'm at this level and you're down here. All right, that's cool. That's cool. All right, here's the first game of the week, and I'm going to pick one of the two big ones, so I'm sure one of you can pick up the other one. Dallas at Miami. Dallas at Miami. Miami. Miami.
Go ahead. Okay.
Go ahead, Kato.
No, you pick first because you're always on the you pick this one, the one first. It's your game.
This is a tough one.
You pick Dallas every week. You might as well keep riding that train.
I went out on a limb, but yeah, you're right.
You told us thank you for letting you pick Dallas last week, and we both picked Buffalo, and we won that.
No, you're right. You're right. That was a bad move on my part. A really bad move. I was expecting more from the Cowboys, so I'm going to go ahead and take Miami this week. I'm not going down the Cowboys train again.
I would love to go opposite of you. Am I next, by the way? I think I'm next.
Sure, you are.
I would love to be opposite of you, but I know one fact. Dallas sucks on the road. They're awful on the road. I can't pick Dallas in Miami. Miami's going to be too fast for them, Miami.
Let me give you a second fact to go with your one fact. Dallas sucks against the run. Mostert has scored, I don't know, 116 touchdowns this week or this year. This year. So, yeah, good luck.
He's got the Miami record for most touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's at Miami, and they call their offense the solar-powered offense, so they're better at home. They put up a bunch of points at home just like Dallas does, but do the clean sweep and go Miami on that. I was hoping Flip would go. He picked that and then didn't pick Dallas.
No. Can't do it this time.
Unreal.
Fool me once. Shame on you. All right, who's up next?
I'll go. Must win for both teams. Bengals at Steelers. Do we go first?
Yeah, go for
it. Tomlin's 7-7. He's never had a losing record. I think he had an 8-8 season one year, pretty recently. I think this is the first year he has a losing record, and I think the Bengals contribute to that. I'll take the Bengals. Browning looks pretty nice. Even though Jamar Chase isn't playing, I still think they got Pittsburgh.
K-Dub.
I like what he said about Browning on that one. But Mason Rudolph is starting, so there's a change. So will the offense open up a little bit with Mason Rudolph? I don't know.
This will be his first start in 2 years.
And somehow Tomlin, Cincinnati's playing good. But I'm going to pick Pittsburgh.
Did Garrett give Rudolph his helmet back? He must have. That's why he's playing this week.
Yeah, he just gave it back to him last week.
Okay, that's cool. I got Cincinnati. I've been on the Browning train since it started. Sorry, PG, but hey, I'd written it down before you said it. So
I
my
thought for
bad.
sure you were going to take the Steelers there.
No.
Some think it will be it is a Super Bowl preview. The Baltimore Ravens at the San Francisco 49ers.
And you've got
on Christmas Day, prime time. I'm taking Baltimore.
Wow.
You're next, Kevin.
Well, I'm taking the colors of K-Dub's shirt. I got San Francisco and Christian McCaffrey scoring 3 touchdowns and winning the MVP that night. Because everybody thinks it's Purdy or Lamar. It's going to be Christian McCaffrey.
I'm going Ravens. I don't think San Fran has been smacked in the mouth the way Baltimore can smack a team in the mouth. I got Baltimore.
And I think Baltimore's won 14 straight games against NFC opponents. So it's been a long time since they lost to somebody from the NFC.
All right, they're due. All right, next game. The aforementioned Myles Garrett, since he gave Rudolph his helmet back, that's nice of him. And his name's Rudolph, and it's Christmas time, so maybe that's why he did it. He was just being nice. Cleveland at Houston. And I don't think C.J. Stroud's playing this week. And I think Joe Flacco's 52-year-old ass is. I'm taking Cleveland.
I don't even know who the backup is for Houston. Who is it?
Case Keenum.
Oh, I'll take Houston all day because you picked the other team.
I was getting ready to say, I thought you were going to say, I'll take Houston all day because of Case Keenum. Whatever.
How do the Browns keep winning, man? Okay. Well,
Defense,
Flacco. I told him to pick up Flacco.
Joe Flacco throws 3 interceptions, I think, 2 weeks in a row each game and wins both of them or something crazy.
He's a quarterback that if you give him a good defense, their defense is not really that good on the road, though. They play much better at home. Cleveland does, but I'm going to pick Cleveland.
Righty.
PG, your game.
Yeah, I'm going to go it's a tough one. I'm going to go toilet bowl game. Cardinals, Bears. And I'm going to take the
That was for the first pick, right?
huh?
No.
Yeah. It's close.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Panthers.
Well,
no,
Panthers.
the Panthers, but the Bears have that pick, right?
Bears have the Panthers' first pick. That's how they got Bryce Young.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go Cardinals here.
Sweet. I'm going Bears.
I'll go Bears.
Love it. You two fell into my trap.
He's setting a trap. All right, K-Dub, what you got?
Well, I mean, how many more are there to – all right, so this matchup, which is surprising, I mean, they've been playing better, but do they fall? It's also the first game on Christmas, the Raiders-Chiefs. Raiders at the Chiefs. I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
So are Kevin and I.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't go against a team wearing all that red on Christmas Day.
Well, and they're at home. But the reason K-Dub picked this game is the Chiefs have not looked great.
That's why.
In most of their games.
They haven't. And don't think for 1 second the Raiders can't play with them. Because the Raiders always play well against. They almost beat them last year in the end of the year. They should have beat them.
You talked me into it. I'm taking the Raiders.
All right.
I'm switching my pick.
I need to talk you into more picks like that. Now watch the Raiders win.
Yep.
Whatever.
Oh, you know what we should do? Have a trivia night. about facts from this podcast. Like I was just looking at a note I took. Corey Lajoie's baseball hat size is 7 3/8. That could be a trivia question.
Yep.
Never mind. I'm not trying to blow anybody's mind right now. We're not going to figure it out tonight.
All right. Let me run down the picks real quick so you can fast forward in case you didn't write it down. Because sometimes I'll fast forward to this point in the podcast to remember who I picked if I'm not anywhere near my notebook. I know y'all want to know that. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. K-Dub's got Pittsburgh and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Helmetless Reindeer. And Paul and I have Cincinnati. Cleveland and Houston. PG has Case Keenum. Kenny and I have Joe Grandpa Flacco. Dallas and Miami, we all have Miami. Baltimore, which, by the way, means Dallas is going to win now. Baltimore at San Francisco. K-Dub and PG have Lamar Jackson. I have Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers. Arizona at Chicago. Woo! Man. PG's got Kyler Murray. K-Dub and I have Justin Fields. And then the game of the day, Las Vegas at Kansas City. K-Dub and I have Mahomes, my auto, my offsides. Gilman has Las Vegas, the greatest city in the world. There you go. There's your rundown. I think it might be time for a stat. What does that say?
It's that time for the Miracle Flip Stat of the Week, presented by who else but Flip?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Herman Moore. That's nuts. All right. So, here we go. I've got two stats of the week, and really, it's really not that. The first stat's really a stat. Second one is it's going to blow your mind. Gilman, you just said something about blowing somebody's mind. Wait till you hear that second one. But the first one is: did you know that Tony Gwynn, potentially the greatest hitter in baseball history, definitely Mr. Padre, was drafted in baseball and basketball at the same time? Pro baseball and pro basketball at the same time. Did you know
Same day.
that? Same day. Thank you.
He can shoot.
He could shoot. He could pass. Anyway, San Diego State's best athlete ever. No offense, Kawhi Leonard.
Hey, Flip.
Tony Gwynn.
Flip, I got a question for you. I'm going
All
to
right.
flip it up on your stat of the week. Since you brought that up, how many players have been drafted in baseball and football? How many? Take a guess at how many players they've been drafted in the Major League Baseball draft and the football draft.
I think there's a lot, because I think there's a lot of like John Elways and quarterbacks out there who played baseball. Kyler Murray. I mean, I don't know what the number would be. 100?
Murray, John Lynch, Dave Winfield, Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders.
Is there a number, Kenny?
Yep, 16.
I was going to guess 11.
Well, we just named half of them. That's good, though. I like that.
Ricky
I thought
Williams,
there'd be more. I thought there'd be more, honestly.
I forgot about Ricky Williams.
Russell Wilson.
Oh,
Wow.
right there.
Right in our backyard.
Golden Tate. Would have never thought that.
Golden Richards. Oh, sorry. Two guys named Golden played in the NFL. Both of them.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady was drafted to play baseball.
He was a catcher.
Montreal Expos.
He was a
There he
catcher.
was. That's great. All right. Thanks, K-Dub. That's a great, because honestly,
See how I flipped that up?
you did flip that up, and that Miracle Whip sandwich needed a little extra, needed a little tomato on it. So thank you for throwing that in there. And here's the one that's going to blow both of your minds. You're just never, ever going to believe this. Georgia and Alabama have the #1 recruiting classes for 2023. I don't know how that could possibly happen, but it did.
Hey, did we talk about we had a previous episode where we talked about the SEC getting into the Final Four. Yeah,
You have further thoughts?
I'm still mad about it. It still pisses me off.
Oh, PG, what are you going to do? And by the way, the ESPN guys are still saying that it's right. They had Mad Dog Russo on there Wednesday. Nobody wants to watch Florida State with no quarterback. I'm like, what are you?
I don't trust any of them, except for Damian Woody. I trust Damian Woody. He's the only one I trust.
Because he's been on my podcast.
Corey Lajoie's been on your podcast, Kevin.
And I trust Corey with my life as of tonight. As of tonight. He'd come and bust your ass, Gilman.
If Flippy got to get his info to me, I'll pick up a couple hats because I got to do the Spanish version of the flying squirrels. That hat, I have one of those. That's pretty sick.
Hey, K-Dub, how did the comedy go last night?
Oh man, it was a great show. We had a great crowd, and it was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun. I did about 30 minutes of comedy or so.
Wow.
Did some crowd work. Found a 21-year-old girl. It was her birthday, and she was with her 40-year-old boyfriend that just started dating. So that was pretty funny.
Tell us some more.
Well, that's too. I mean, Kenny, I'm not a comedian, but I could do crowd work with that.
Right. So I'm like, well, it's he makes a lot of money, right? So,
yeah. Served on a silver platter. So, by the way, both of you were able to meet the super fan Brent Scapel this week.
Oh yeah, Brent was super nice, man. So he met me after the show. Was like, hey, #1 fan of the podcast. So big shout out to Brent. Thanks for coming, dude. That was awesome. He said he had fun. You never know when people, they tell you afterwards, hey, we had a great time. Are they being nice? But I tell you what, I had a great time. I think the crowd was, they were perfect for me. So
he had a great time, kiddo. He was talking about it today in the office. He was talking about that 21-year-old. Yeah. He said you and Dylan were giving her. I think she was
a little harder on Dylan. Like she was getting annoying at that point when Dylan was up there because she was just hollering out, and I don't know. Her timing was just poor of when she was yelling out. Like you have to yell out the whole show. So she was a little saucy, but she just wanted attention. She's a hot little 21-year-old with her rich boyfriend on her birthday at a comedy club, and she got attention from me and then wanted it like the rest of the night. And Dylan was like, all right, I got jokes, So,
shut up, lady. I'm trying to tell jokes up here.
Yeah.
Well, I will say I enjoyed meeting Brent at lunch the other day, and we ate at I don't know what the name of the place was, but it was in Lakeside. It was very good. Super eclectic.
PB's Love Shack.
PB's Love Shack. There it is.
Was that where you went? Dude, you guys got to roll down the street. PB's is good, but Roy's Big Burger down the street is not you eat outside, but that's some of the best food around. The burgers for real.
I agree with that. I agree 100%. Cool. What else y'all got? You got anything going on this weekend? Is Christmas? Everybody ready for old Christmas and St. Nick?
Yep. Still got some rapping to do.
Yeah. 80s rap or 90s rap?
90s for sure.
Of course. All the time. Every time. PG, you finished shopping?
I finished shopping. I'm waiting for Mr. Amazon to deliver everything, hopefully tomorrow. And then I'll be doing my final wrapping. Other than my wife, all the wrapping's done. And I will just tell you stories from the center of the universe. Y'all remember the Brittany Griner getting stuck in Russia for a few months? And then she gets traded for a Russian to go back. You know who that Russian was? Do you remember that story?
Vladimir.
Who?
I don't know. I was just throwing a name out.
Victor Bout, but it's spelled Bout. You would think it's Bout, but that's not how it's pronounced. The woman who was primarily responsible for his arrest and eventual imprisonment for about 10 years lives in Ashland. And I'm getting her on the podcast.
No, wow.
Right?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Hey, by the way, I don't know if I'm going to get this guy on the podcast, but he's another guy that He's retired in the area. I'll just say. You guys ever seen the movie My Cousin Vinny?
Oh yeah.
And you know how they have the townsfolk that they're eyewitnesses and they can't see and they can't hear and they're all messed up.
Oh, you did not get the Seven Bushes guy.
Who's this? What's the actor's name?
I don't know, but he's the one who went. Don't forget those. Oh, Seven Bushes. Go ahead.
I think it's the same guy. The actor's name is Rainer Shine. Not making that up. That's not what his mama named him. I guarantee it. His name is RAYNORSCHIENE. Rainer Shine. I met him with the lady who was the Victor Boot person. I met them in the same 30 minutes.
What a cool ass name, Rainer.
That is him.
Yeah, he was the Bushes guy. The Bushes guy lives near us.
It's one of the best. By the way, that movie is a classic. If you haven't seen it, go watch it twice because it is phenomenal. But Rainer Shine, I didn't know that was his name. That's fantastic. Yeah,
Rainer was just chilling out, having a beer at 3:30 in the afternoon on a Tuesday.
Yeah, he's drinking Rainer Shine.
We're moving up, boys.
Yeah, Corey Lajoie, Rainer Shine, the Victor Boot person.
Get some.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm sure if people are NASCAR fans, they're already listening to Stacking Pennies.
Yeah.
Corey Lajoie.
Maybe Corey could shout us out.
Yeah, he might. All right, cool. That was awesome.
Depends on how we sign that hat that we're sending. The hats we're sending them.
Right.
Yeah, we got to make a big impact on that. So hopefully get some pit passes or something. Hint, hint. Corey, listening.
Yeah.
I love it. Hey, when they come to Richmond, Tim Clark could hook us up too. That's how I met Bill Elliott. Tim Clark gave us pit passes. Pretty cool. Oh, by the way, I was going to ask him, one question I didn't ask him that I did want to ask is who gets to hire the pit crew?
It ain't him.
Right. It ain't him, right? Because it's got to be probably the owner of the car, right?
Crew chief, I would imagine.
The crew chief and the owner probably figure it out. Yeah.
I think the crew chief is the guy that hires everybody.
Unless it's Jerry Jones, who's the owner.
Okay, or Joe Gibbs, right? So if the crew chief's hiring the pit crew and the pit crew is sucking, the driver and the pit crew probably don't get along very well. I just wonder how many times there's been a little bit of contention there or contention.
I'm not sure Corey wanted to answer that one if you had asked.
I wouldn't have asked him. I wouldn't have gone that far with it, but
it's the same as in the corporate world, though. It's just different departments. Do they get along? Do you get along with accounts payable or payroll or HR? Kevin, you probably have a hard time with HR.
I do. Long file.
I'm sure.
All right, good stuff. All right, fellas, y'all have a good Christmas, and we'll be coming back strong soon.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Whatever it is. Peace out.